This time around, let's talk about buck converters. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the corner. It's me, Jeff. I haven't done video in a couple of weeks. I've been kind of fighting that nasty little bug that's going around, but I'm all better now. So this time around, I've been kind of working on getting the Octoprint going on this modified Tronxy XY2 Pro that has the SKR board in it. And I want to run Clipper and Fluid, but when I got my Raspberry Pi, they gave me this sort of adapter here that I have to plug in and unplug. It didn't have anything. So I wanted to run my power supply from my Pi off of my printer itself. That way, when I turn on my printer, the Pi turns on, and I'm kind of good to go at that point in time. I actually want to get a Wi-Fi plug for it, so all I have to do is turn it on through Wi-Fi wherever I am, and then I can just basically start a print wherever. But that is the project for this. So what I'm going to talk to you about this week is I'm going to talk to you about buck converters and how to convert your 24 volt system down to a 12 volt system, or even a 5 volt system, or some accessories even run on 3 volts. So we're going to talk about that right now. So I bought a bunch of buck converters off of Amazon. They came in a 5-pack. And they run for about $2 to $3 a piece. So that's a really low cost solution to convert your main power to drop down power, so you can run some more accessories. Like you can run, say, LED lights that usually run at 5 volts. You can run a lower voltage fan for, say, like example, this is a 5 volt Nocturna. I have a 12 volt power supply here I'll be using as an example for the step down. So we'll step down the 12 volts to the 5 volts to make it run. You can actually see it says 5 volts right there. And I'm going to show you how I wire it up. Now, I am not a soldering guy whatsoever. My soldering skills absolutely suck. But I'll run through kind of the basics on how to do this. If you have tips for a better soldering iron for me, or for ways to enhance my soldering skill, feel free, leave them in the comments by all means. So this is your buck converter. I just want to go over it really quickly. This is an LM2596 step down converter. It will step down voltage. It will not step up voltage. This is for 24 volt DC to DC. Up to 20, no, actually this one I think is up to 36 volts. Does it say on the package? Yeah, it doesn't say on the package. I believe it's up to 36 volts, but I'll leave a link down below. And down to 1.5 volts, I think it can go down to. So for example, we're going to go from 12 volts down to 5 volts. So example, say you have a loud part cooling fan or a loud hot end fan. You want to convert to one of these super quiet Nocturna fans. You can do that no problem, and that's kind of the demo that we're going to show you, right? So I'm going to be using a old 12 volt supply. You guys, for most modern printers nowadays, there's 24 volts, but this is from an older, actually cheap Chinese clone. You can actually see here where it was burnt on the one side here. It's all charred and stuff like that. That was a fun day at my house, let me tell you. So continuing on. All right. So what we're going to need is you're going to need a couple supplies here. You're going to need some wire strippers, a soldering iron, some wire to connect everything together. You can always use some shrink wraps. I printed a cute little case here that this will just fit into. Nice and neat when the job is all done. It's even got a little hole right there that you can adjust the voltage with once you're done all soldering and stuff like that. Okay, I'll leave the link for the case down below as well. But basically, in a nutshell, what we're going to do is on here, you're going to see it has in, and out, out. So we're going to take the in from, you can either take it from your power supply, or if you have a board with a fan that's always on, you can always take it from there as well. This is an old Tronxy board. There's the fan. that this is always on, so you could always either split this, but I think there's 2 fans on here, if I'm not mistaken. No, that's bed temp. No, there's only 1 fan on here, but you can always split that feed if you wanted to, or split it out of the actual power into the board. I wouldn't personally do that. I would rather take it right off of the power supply, or right off of split the fan lead, one of the two. So that being said, let's get to work. So what you're going to need is you're going to need some wire. I have some, what is this, 23 gauge? This 23 gauge, what is this? I think it's 23 gauge. I am not sure. They actually don't even have the gauge on here. That's crazy. But yeah, I think it's 23 gauge. I was actually using it to wire up my my Chiron, and this is all silicone wire. I would prefer silicone wire to anything else. It's got a much larger strand count than anything. So we'll just take a little bit of this here to run this experiment. There we go. And so we'll make this as the ground. Let's make the yellow as the positive, shall we? So we have our 2 leads of wire, we have our ground and our power. This is not plugged in as of yet. It's a hot lead, so I don't want to plug it in until I actually have to use it. But basically on your power supplies, this is your input, these 3. You got your negative, your lead, and your ground here. And then you have your voltage minus and your voltage positive. Okay, and this is a 12 volt super cheap power supply here, 12 volt, 30 amp power supply. But it should do just fine for our purpose, which is going to be to run this buck converter here. So you want to make sure you run it properly, so the power is going to the inside and it's positive and negative. On the top and bottom, I don't know if you can see that, positive and negative, but what I like to do is I like to strip my wires, so they're only big enough to be as big as the pad that's on there, maybe just a hair more, but that's about it, because you don't want the too long of your exposed wires. You want it just about the right length. Otherwise, it could touch something and you could develop a short. So, to me, that's about the best school of thought. So just a little bit off of the things. Oh, by the way, get one of these strippers if you can. These are like the best thing ever. Okay, these make your job so much easy. So yeah, just as long as it's about the same size as the pad there, you're good to go, okay? Now the other side, you're going to attach to your lead. So you're going to need a couple, you can buy preferably these little Y connectors, so they fit in nicely into there. I only had 1 left in my kit, so I'm just going to use these round ones that you screw into. And basically I am going to just attach my wiring so I know the length that what I need to trim it off at, and adjust this. I'll go about yay far for the negative, yay far for the positive. You know what? Here, why don't I use this for the positive just because it's red. And then you just want to make sure there are tools to do this with. I don't have them right now, but usually when you buy them, you have your wire stripper kit. So you just want to crimp that down as hard as you can. We'll do the same with the negative. So these 2 are crimped away. Let's just get rid of all of this stuff that we don't need. And now for the soldering. So you need some, from what I know, you need some electrical solder, which is what I have right here. What what we're basically going to do is take your soldering iron. I have mine turned on. This one has a nice little thermostat on there, so I can adjust the temperatures because I want my solder to be usable but not runny, I guess would be the best guess for that. So let's just move this stuff out of the way. We're going to take our insides, get it, insides, haha, no, our insides, and we're simply going to, see, this is actually a little bit weird for me to do with the overhead camera here in my kind of eyesight here. So all I'm going to do is heat up a little bit of solder and drop it on the pads like so. Yes, I know I am not a good solderer at all. And then again on this side. Now, to me, it looks like my iron is just a hair hot. So we're going to try and cool that down a little bit. And that's it. Then we're going to tin our wires. Do I actually have solder on there? And then this is the positive. So and then let's get our negative on there. Again, we will just simply tin our wire. And that is it. So I just want to make sure my leads are on there. Again, as I say, I am not a good solderer whatsoever, so I'm just showing you guys kind of how to do these with the buck converters. All right. And then we'll simply hook up to our positive and our negatives. Negative, now we'll add our positive. And then we have our buck converter. Okay, let's just hook up a multimeter here because we're going to step this down to 5 volts, right? That's the goal here. So that's positive out, right? And that would be negative out. Let's have a look here. Let's go down to volts. Is that too bright for you? What's better? With the light or without the light? So see how our buck converter is right now at 11.33 volts. I'm going to drop this down to 5 volts. And we want to go counterclockwise. So you're just spinning this little, see, little dial on the side here, on the top. 10. 9, 8. So I would suggest maybe 5.1. Somewhere around there. There's 5 volts, 5.04. I think we'll be in a good space there. So again, I'm going to unplug the power supply or turn off the power supply. Power is drained. So I believe this nocturnal fan's a dud, so my apologies for that, but that would explain why I took it off of my Prusa. I did replace them with these Sun-On, and this is a 5 volt one, as you can see as well. So let's give this one a whirl, and hopefully this whole little crazy experiment that we're doing here works out, okay? Okay, so here's that Sun-On 5 volt fan running off of a 12 volt power supply. And that's how you would hook up either your LED light strip or different cooling fans, quieter ones. There's a whole range of stuff. And from 24 volt down to 12 volt, you can get the decent nocturnos. Unfortunately, the one that I had was a burnt out fan. But yeah, so yeah, this is how you use a step down converter, right? So you can adjust your voltage. So yeah, I am not the best solderer out there by any means, but I hope you guys got the grasp of how to hook up one of these little buck converters to your power supply and then run your accessories with it by down stepping your voltage, right? So, and this should lead to, a lot of the quieter fans are only 12 volt, they're not 24 volt. As far as your hot end and stuff goes, even your power supply. So you can drop the noise level of your printer considerably. If you want to run an LED strip lamp up here, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing at some point in time as well. But yeah, I'll leave a link below for the buck converters. If you guys have any soldering tips whatsoever, feel free to leave them in the comments below because I can use them, trust me. As I say, this is just a sort of learn as you go hobby. Anything that I do, I'd like to pass on to other people so they get some knowledge. But again, the comments also greatly help too. If this is your first time through the channel, hit the subscribe button. If I look at my analytics, I see that, you know, probably about 13% of I get regular views and the rest are just cruising through the channel. And I'm sure they're the same people all the time. So you same people, hey, hit the like, hit the subscribe, please, all right? It will really help my channel grow, okay? I can do some more fun stuff like this. I just want to say to everyone, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel, okay? So until next time, guys, thanks a lot.